Meghan Markle has debuted a new assistant, and not only that, the Duchess dictator has arrived. The crown has spoken, and this time there is no walking it back. In an extraordinary sequence of events that has sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace, Montecito, and every royal correspondent's newsroom from London to Los Angeles, Princess Anne has done something the monarchy almost never does. She has drawn a line in the sand. A hard, institutional, constitutional line, and that line has Lilibet's name written across it. Meghan Markle's world, the carefully curated empire of candles, wellness campaigns, and, as ever, branding, is now in freefall. Why? Because the royal family is no longer watching from a distance. They're acting. And they have made it abundantly, unmistakably clear. Lilibet's future is no longer solely in Meghan's hands. So here is the question you need to ask yourself right now, before we go any further. How far is too far when it comes to a child's public image? And at what point does a mother's ambition cross into something the rest of the world, including a 1,000-year-old monarchy, simply cannot ignore? Stay with us, because what has unfolded in just the last 3 weeks is more dramatic, more legally explosive, and more emotionally raw than anything we have seen from the House of Windsor in decades. This is not tabloid gossip. This is documented. This is time-stamped. And this is escalating by the hour. The meeting that changed everything. Let's go back to January 23, 2026. Behind the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace, something unprecedented was happening. A crisis meeting, not a routine briefing, not a ceremonial gathering, but a full emergency session had been called. And the people in that room tell you everything about how serious this had become. Princess Anne was chairing the session. King Charles III was present in person. Prince William attended. Duchess Sophie was there. Also present were the royal family's principal legal advisors. And here is the detail that should stop you in your tracks. An external representative from the UK's Department for Children and Families. Think about that for a moment. When child welfare officials from a government department are brought inside Buckingham Palace to discuss a royal family matter, you are no longer in the territory of a domestic dispute. You are in the territory of institutional intervention. The session lasted over 3 hours. 3 hours. And by all accounts, what emerged from that room was the most sweeping child protection directive the monarchy has issued in more than 20 years. Why? Because internal legal reports submitted by Prince Harry's own UK counsel had reached royal authorities, and they contained what insiders describe as serious alarms about the welfare of 2 children living in California. 2 children named Archie and Lilibet. The very next morning, on January 24, 2026, Clarence House released a statement. And this was not a soft, diplomatic, carefully worded piece of royal PR. This was a declaration. It read, in part, "The royal household expresses grave concern regarding the physical, emotional, and educational welfare of Master Archie and Lady Lilibet. Any attempts to commodify or divide the siblings for financial or image purposes are expressly condemned and run contrary to all royal ethical and constitutional standards." Commodify. That word was chosen deliberately. And Meghan Markle's team knew exactly who it was aimed at. Now, before we go any further, ask yourself, does the royal family have the right to intervene in how Meghan raises her children in America? That question is at the very heart of everything that follows. The Lilibet logs, what they found. Here is where the story takes a turn that is difficult to hear, especially for anyone who believes in letting children be children. Princess Anne's advisory team compiled what insiders have been calling, in private palace circles, the Lilibet logs, a detailed, documented account of a 6-year-old child's weekly schedule. And we are not talking about school runs and playdates. According to this internal dossier, this was Lilibet's week. Monday and Wednesday, filming short-form content for the As Ever brand. Thursday, voice training for a potential audiobook narration. Friday, Mommy and Me product shoots for 2 upcoming wellness campaigns. Weekends, brand-related activities, including live streams, unboxing videos, toy demonstrations, and virtual meet and greets via private platforms. Let that sink in. This is a 6-year-old. She does not yet have all her adult teeth. She is at an age when most developmental psychologists agree that unstructured play is not just important, it is neurologically critical. And yet, she was reportedly logging brand shoots, voice training, and virtual meet and greets on her weekends. But the numbers, according to the filing, do not lie. Documentation submitted by Prince Harry's lawyer states that Lilibet logged over 192 recorded work hours between October 1st and December 31st, 2025. That is the equivalent, explicitly cited in the filing, of 6 adult work weeks in a single quarter. 6 adult work weeks. For a child who had just turned 6. Prince William's response, delivered during a closed-door roundtable on January 30th, was not measured. It was not diplomatic. It was raw. "She's 6 years old," he reportedly said, "and already more exhausted than most working women in their 30s. This is not childhood. This is exploitation." Those words, reportedly spoken by a future king, are now on record. And then there were the contractor accounts. Multiple former workers connected to the As Ever brand, speaking anonymously to palace investigators, described scenes that are uncomfortable even to imagine. One source claimed that Lilibet cried quietly for over 15 minutes after forgetting a scripted line, only to be told by Meghan Markle's personal assistant that she needs to learn resilience. Another described an incident in which Meghan Markle, reportedly frustrated by a filming delay, raised her voice at Lilibet and said, "If you want to build something in this world, you have to show up every time. No exceptions." She was speaking to a child who is 6 years old. Meghan's team has dismissed these accounts as misquoted and embellished. However, palace officials were reportedly not relying on contractor gossip alone. They had documentation, contracts, schedules, and, perhaps most devastatingly of all, the words of Lilibet herself. The line that cracked the room open. We need to pause here, because what we are about to share is, according to royal insiders, the moment that changed the atmosphere inside every palace briefing room where it was read aloud. In late December 2025, a third-party child psychologist, retained by Prince Harry's legal team, conducted 2 confidential video sessions with Lilibet. The child statements were not legally binding. But what she reportedly said was so clear, so simple, and so heartbreaking that when it was read during an emergency briefing at Windsor on January 13th, it stopped the room cold. Lilibet reportedly said, "I want to go where I don't have to smile every time. I want to be with Archie." One royal family source described it this way. It was not just a daughter asking for her brother. It was a child rejecting performance as identity. A 6-year-old girl, not asking for a toy, not asking for candy, asking, with devastating emotional clarity, to go somewhere she does not have to perform in order to be with her brother. Where is Archie? And that brings us to the other child in this story. The one who has largely disappeared from view. The one whose absence Duchess Sophie reportedly described in a private royal session as a silence that screams. Where is Archie? This is the question that has haunted senior members of the royal family for over a year, and it is a question the world has not been asking loudly enough. Archie Harrison, now 7 years old, has not appeared in any public or private royal channels for over 14 months. Not in media. Not in family imagery. Nowhere. And this absence stands in stark contrast to his sister's reported near-constant visibility. Lilibet has been featured in promotional content, brand campaigns, and product shoots. Archie, meanwhile, has been largely unseen. According to internal family reports, school attendance records from an unnamed Los Angeles elementary institution allegedly indicate sporadic presence and signs of emotional withdrawal. Prince Harry's confidential notes reportedly describe his son as exhibiting anxious responses when cameras or filming equipment are present. The boy has developed what can only be described as an aversion to being photographed. Think about that. A 7-year-old boy, the son of a prince, the grandson of a king, who has reportedly become afraid of cameras. During a January 29th royal strategy session at Kensington Palace, Duchess Sophie reportedly delivered remarks that left the room in silence. The absence of Archie is a silence that screams. We must ensure he is not emotionally orphaned while both parents are in public war. She also reportedly expressed deep concern over what she had been told regarding his emotional well-being. And according to those present, the weight of that statement lingered long after the meeting adjourned. Reports indicate that Archie rarely engages with peers, has displayed withdrawn and flat behavior around others, and becomes visibly shaken when filming equipment enters the home. Prince Harry's own accounts reportedly confirm it. During brand shoot sessions featuring Lilibet, his son allegedly becomes emotionally withdrawn. The uncomfortable truth the palace is now openly grappling with is this: one child is being overexposed. One child is being made invisible. And in completely different ways, both appear to be suffering. So we ask again, do you believe Meghan Markle is aware of the impact this situation may be having on both children? Because the answer to that question shapes everything that comes next. Princess Anne draws the line. Now this is where Princess Anne steps fully into the center of the story. And when Princess Anne steps into something, people pay attention. She is not known for theatrics. She does not posture. She acts. On January 27th, she formally requested that Prince Harry submit what has been described as a royal child protection briefing, a detailed framework outlining how he intends to safeguard the physical, emotional, and educational well-being of both children in the United States. On January 28th, Meghan Markle reportedly received a formal legal notice requiring her to respond to a royal conduct inquiry. The letter demanded a written justification for her decision to withdraw Lilibet from her accredited school, Brentwood Academy, an explanation for pursuing full homeschooling, particularly after a formal concern notice issued by the school in December 2025. A written response addressing her reported rejection of psychological oversight previously offered by Brentwood's child welfare advisors. Then, on January 31st, in what insiders described as a rarely used but constitutionally permissible move, Clarence House, through UK health liaison channels, filed an official request with California state medical boards seeking a full psychological and health wellness report for both Archie and Lilibet. This reportedly falls under what are described as sovereign protection rights extended to royal descendants residing abroad. In other words, the British Crown reached across the Atlantic and formally requested access to the health records of two American resident children because those children carry royal blood. And according to palace sources, the monarchy believes that blood carries a duty of protection that does not stop at national borders. Meghan Markle has not publicly responded. Her spokesperson described the monarchy's tone as patronizing and intrusive. But according to palace insiders, these were not suggestions. They were institutional directives backed by legal frameworks that predate Meghan Markle by centuries. Brentwood Academy and the 10 contracts. Now let's talk about Brentwood Academy, because this piece of the puzzle has largely remained out of the public spotlight. Lilibet was enrolled at Brentwood Academy in Los Angeles. In early December 2025, Meghan Markle withdrew her from the school. The stated reason: disagreements over curriculum flexibility and media restrictions. However, on December 10, 2025, Brentwood reportedly issued a formal absence report. It did not simply note her absence, it flagged concerns that social development markers were not being met at expected levels. When Prince Harry's legal team filed court documents, the Brentwood letter was included as supporting evidence. It reportedly cited severe absenteeism, an inability to confirm academic milestones, concerns over Lilibet's emotional self-regulation. The letter concluded with a recommendation that Lilibet undergo a full developmental assessment if homeschooling continued. And then there are the contracts. Palace sources claim that more than 10 contracts involving Lilibet, spanning fashion, skincare, scripted video content, and educational toy lines, are currently under review. 10 contracts. For a child who cannot legally sign on her own behalf. During a January 28th press conference, when Meghan Markle was asked whether Lilibet was working more than 15 hours per week on branded content, she reportedly paused before responding. She's not working. She's creating. There's a difference. The palace reportedly saw no such distinction. Additional pressure mounted when California's Child and Family Services received an anonymous complaint, believed to have originated from a former Archwell contractor, regarding excessive media exposure and what was described as an atypical daily structure for a child under 10. As of late January, no formal case had been opened. However, according to internal notes, the department was monitoring public developments with what one report described as elevated interest. Harry goes to court, the custody bombshell. And now we arrive at what may be the most seismic development in this entire saga. The move no one saw coming. On January 2, 2026, Prince Harry filed an official custody petition with the Los Angeles Superior Court, a move that reportedly caught Meghan Markle's legal team completely off guard. Harry is scheduled to testify later this week, a rare sight, a British royal appearing in an American courtroom. He is seeking full legal and physical custody of both Archie and Lilibet. This was not symbolic. This was not a negotiation tactic. It was a formal legal action filed in an American court by a British prince, allegedly without Meghan's prior knowledge or consent. Harry's filing included a line that has since become one of the most quoted phrases in the entire saga. The emotional bifurcation of siblings is not a solution. It is institutionalized trauma. Meghan's legal team responded quickly. On January 6th, they filed a counter-motion proposing a split custody framework. Archie would spend 9 months per year with Harry in the UK and 3 months in the United States. Lilibet would remain full-time in California, citing educational, therapeutic, and career systems already in place that could not be replicated abroad. Career systems. For a 6-year-old. Royal insiders claim that when Princess and Prince William reviewed the counterfiling, they viewed that language as a major red flag, framing a first grader as having career infrastructure requiring legal protection is, by any reasonable standard, a striking inclusion in custody documents. And at that point, the palace response reportedly hardened. The Royal Child Preservation Council. On February 1, 2026, Princess Anne's newly formed Royal Child Preservation Council, RCPC, was formally activated. Sources inside Kensington Palace describe it as the most active non-political royal body since the Diana Crisis Committee of 1997. That comparison alone signals the seriousness of the moment. Led by Princess and reporting directly to King Charles III, the RCPC includes senior officials from the Royal Legal Advisory Board, 2 independent pediatric psychologists, a cross-national liaison from the UK's Department for Children and Families, an international diplomatic representative specializing in transatlantic custody and citizenship law. Its stated mission: to preserve the private development and emotional stability of royal descendants abroad in cases involving image overexposure, household fragmentation, or branding activities inconsistent with minor wellness. This is not a ceremonial committee. Behind the scenes, royal aides have reportedly begun preparing contingency strategies involving the UK Foreign Office and the British Consulate in Los Angeles. If Meghan Markle continues resisting inquiries, potential steps could include formal legal cooperation requests with local child welfare authorities, diplomatic requests for access to medical and educational reports. In emergency circumstances, temporary physical oversight arrangements. King Charles III has not signed such a directive, but according to insiders, a draft exists. One senior Crown advisor summarized the position bluntly. This isn't about reclaiming children or challenging maternal authority. It's about preventing a reputational and emotional implosion. If Lilibet becomes a cautionary tale, the monarchy's moral legitimacy goes with it. Meghan responds. On January 28th, Meghan Markle held a virtual press conference via Zoom. She appeared composed, seated in front of softly lit shelves, with copies of her book The Bench arranged behind her, a deliberate and carefully staged backdrop. Her central message: Lilibet is not being exploited. She's being empowered. She has gifts, and I will not apologize for cultivating them. She described Prince Harry as regressive and obstructive. She defended withdrawing Lilibet from school as protective and responsive to her emotional needs. She framed herself as a modern mother misunderstood by what she implied was a backward institution. But then she said something that resonated in a different way than perhaps intended. She described her own childhood, a one-bedroom apartment with her mother, second-hand textbooks, classmates with legacy surnames who always seemed to move ahead. And then she said Lilibet was her second chance at getting it right. That phrase, second chance, reportedly echoed longest in palace briefing rooms, because it reframes a child not as an independent individual with her own future, but as a vessel for a parent's unfinished story. As one palace insider allegedly put it, "You don't heal your own childhood by hijacking your child's future." There are also reports that Meghan Markle is seeking to trademark the phrase "raised by purpose" under Lilibet's name. If filed, palace officials have signaled it could trigger formal objections under UK soft diplomacy agreements and media ethics oversight frameworks. Raised by purpose as a commercial trademark. For a 6-year-old who reportedly told a psychologist she simply wants to stop smiling on command. Catherine enters, the quiet force. Not every development in this story is confrontational. In fact, the most consequential move of the past 2 weeks may be the quietest one. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has reportedly positioned herself as a stabilizing force, perhaps the only person capable of preventing this conflict from becoming irreversible. According to insiders at Kensington Palace, Catherine has spent weeks building the framework for what is being called internally the Windsor Reset, a private, in-person family summit at Windsor Castle, proposed for February 9th to 11th, 2026. The proposed attendees: Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Princess Anne, Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, serving as moderator. No press, no recordings, no staff, no lawyers in the room. Just a conversation about 2 children. This is no longer simply about how children are raised. The palace has reportedly reserved a secure wing at Windsor Castle for the proposed February summit. Invitations were hand-delivered via private diplomatic courier to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's legal teams on February 2nd. Harry is said to be open and hopeful. Meghan's camp has issued no formal response. But Catherine, Princess of Wales, has not waited. On January 29th, she reportedly sent Meghan a handwritten personal letter. The full contents have not been made public, but senior aides confirmed the tone was disarmingly honest, non-accusatory, and grounded in shared motherhood. One excerpt, verified by a trusted palace source, read, "Whatever divides us, I believe we both want them to feel loved before they feel watched." I hope we can still agree on that. A future queen writing by hand to a woman who has publicly criticized her family, her institution, and her country, choosing motherhood over monarchy as common ground. That is not weakness. That may be the most sophisticated move in this entire saga. Operation Veil, the 2 paths. Inside the palace, communications teams are preparing for every possible outcome. The dual contingency plan is reportedly called Operation Veil. It has 2 paths. Path A, reconciliation. Meghan Markle attends the Windsor summit. The summit succeeds. The palace releases a unified statement emphasizing shared family values and a commitment to child well-being. The crisis de-escalates. The Royal Child Preservation Council, RCPC, continues monitoring quietly behind the scenes. Path B, escalation. Meghan refuses to attend or undermines proceedings through a tell-all interview, a documentary appearance, or escalating legal action. In that case, insiders suggest the palace response could include an official clarification that Lilibet's use of royal symbols in commercial contexts is unauthorized, full public endorsement of Prince Harry's custody petition, a joint public address, potentially led by Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Princess Anne, to reassert institutional ethics without explicitly vilifying Meghan, but making the monarchy's position unmistakable. There is another layer to Path B. Palace officials are reportedly examining whether Meghan has used Windsor-associated symbols commercially without authorization, including subtle references to royal coats of arms, phrases such as "of royal lineage," and design elements associated with the Royal Collection Trust. If confirmed and if compliance is not achieved, the palace could issue a formal revocation notice. Lilibet would retain her bloodline status. but any royal visual identifiers attached to commercial ventures would be stripped. As one insider described it, lineage does not entitle license, especially when used to market candles, skin cream, or lifestyle retreats. What hangs in the balance? It is now February 2026. The Windsor Summit is days away. Meghan has not confirmed. Harry is waiting and is ready. Catherine has written her letter. King Charles III is watching. And at the center of it all are two children. A 7-year-old boy who reportedly flinches when cameras enter a room. A 6-year-old girl who told a psychologist she wants to stop smiling on command. Princess Anne has stated, with the full institutional authority of the British monarchy behind her, that Lilibet's future is not a commercial asset, not a brand, not a platform. The decision about that future, she has made clear, will not be made unilaterally by any parent operating outside the legal and ethical frameworks that govern both royal obligations and the fundamental welfare of children. The Crown's position is now fixed. The question is no longer whether the palace will act. The question is whether Meghan Markle will engage before they act in ways that cannot be reversed. As one senior official reportedly summarized, "We will not negotiate the well-being of children. We will act if no one else will." King Charles III, a man who has lived through some of the most painful chapters in modern royal history, including the collapse of his marriage and the tragedy surrounding Princess Diana, appears to have made a quiet, deliberate decision. He will not let history repeat itself. During a January 30th internal address, Princess Anne reportedly said, "We must protect children not from ambition, but from premature purpose." And Catherine, Princess of Wales, expressed it most humanly of all. "Whatever divides us, I believe we both want them to feel loved before they feel watched." Now, only one question remains. Will Meghan Markle walk into Windsor Castle and sit at that table? Or will she escalate? The next chapter is approaching quickly. And the Crown, it seems, is watching without blinking.